Hello and welcome back to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me. So I'm excited to say goodbye to September. We made it to the end, and hello to October tomorrow. You'll see the new October game tomorrow. And for those who've been here since last year, you know it's a bittersweet moment for me. On the one hand, I'm excited about fall. I'm excited about the cooler temperatures, all the things like pumpkin spice, and even the fun Halloween decorations are okay, but that's about as far as I like to be scared. Unfortunately, October is going to be devoted to all things horror, and my family cannot wait to torture me. They have been making a list all year of the 31 movies they're going to subject me to, and of course, I'm going to have a book every day that I read that is also horror, just so I can share it with you guys. So stay tuned, more information tomorrow in the video, and we'll see if I survive it. But meanwhile, I was blessed to be a part of NetGalley and to get some advanced copies of some really cool books. I can't wait to review those with you guys. So let's get started. The first book that I finished, and remember, this was all for Battle-a-thon from Melanie Reads. It was fantastic. We had such a good time. I am so proud to say I was on the red team, and we just had a blast. The first one was for Stalking Jack the Ripper. This I gave 3 stars. I didn't know this was Carrie Maniscalco's first series that she's done. I am excited. I read Kingdom of the Wicked as the first series that I'd read of hers for myself. So this was really kind of cool to see her writing prior to that. And it was kind of a fun ride. It was very Jack the Ripper-y, as you would expect. And I'm excited to continue that series. Then I finished Star Wars Darth Bane Rule of 2. This I gave a 3 star. It was actually a really good ride. I really enjoyed it. It was very action-packed. Of course, there was some stabbing in the backs because they're Sith, so what do you expect? And I'm excited to see the next book. This was really good. There were a couple surprises that happened in this too. It didn't feel quite as heavy sci-fi as some of the other ones were. Then I finished, or I should say, I started Memphis. As you can see there, I DNF'd it. I had to. Oh my gosh, you guys. I guess they have warnings for a reason, and I don't read them because typically it's not so bad. But in the very beginning of this story, you have the mother taking her daughter to go live with her sister and her sister's son. You find out as soon as they get there that this daughter is traumatized because when they had been there 7 years previously, she had been sexually assaulted by this boy. And now mom's moving her and her daughter in with them. You've got to be kidding me. There is no way I was going to read that. I can't. So I DNF'd it. I'm sure it's a marvelous story for somebody. It is not for me. Then I finished Immortal Longings. This I gave a 3 star. The body hopping magic style / cats, people. Cats. The body swapping style that they did, that's kind of like a Hunger Games-esque, just didn't do it for me, especially since for the majority of the time I was reading and could care less what happened to those characters. I know that's horrible, but it's true. I just did not feel very connected to them at all. And at the end, when they gave this great big reveal, I really was like, yeah, saw it coming, and oh no, please, no, don't say that's what's happening. Like, I could care less. So I doubt very much I'm going to continue this series, and it was just blasé for me. Then I finished Black Sun. This I gave a 3 star. I thought it was a solid story. I actually enjoyed the character development in this and what was going on. The prologue itself was horrible, just so you know. Prepare yourself. It's very graphic and it's terrible what happens to this poor little boy. But it was a good story. I thought it was decent. But by the time I got towards the end, I was really bored. I thought it slowed down a lot and I really didn't care to continue the series. Then I read Into the Drowning Deep. Now this I gave a 5-star. This is another Mira grant, another success. Oh my gosh, you guys, this was so creepy. This really should have been something that I'm reading next month instead, but oh my gosh, mermaids, scientists, discoveries, and horror of the deep. It's in the Mariana Trench. Like, you get the, POV of the scientists, you get the POV of the news crew, you get the POV of the mermaids. I mean, oh my gosh, it was so good. Now, when you go to look for this, do be careful because there's one called Rolling in the Deep that I guess is like a prequel to this one. And it's just a very short version of short story of it. So don't mistake like I did in trying to find this one and get stuck with the other one on Scribd, and then you can't find this one and it's a mess. So just prepare yourself. But 5-star, it is up on my shelf. You can't see it right now because it's being blocked, but oh my gosh, it is so good. I love it. Oh, and it's a series too, so I can't wait to read the next one. Then I finished Fool's Fate. I gave it a 5-star. It's my fits. It is the ending I was hoping for. There were some tears shed. Yes. I'm such a crybaby. But it was really good. And the relationship between Fitz and the Fool, and it was just all the things, you guys. There was even an epic battle with a dragon. Like, it was a thing. And the prince is finally not so annoying to me. I'm finally starting to get on board and like him a little bit better. And I can't wait to continue with a new series next month. Then I finished Sing Me to Sleep. This one I gave a 3-star. It was very aptly named for me. I'm not trying to be mean, but every time I picked it up, I was so incredibly bored. It's supposed to be a siren kind of story, but I just really didn't deliver. Again, I really didn't care about the characters. The only one I liked was this little orphan girl that the siren adopted. Like, that's literally the only character I liked. And I just, the ending felt like they did it on purpose the way they did, so there could be a continuation, and I just, it just wasn't for me. Sorry, Stevie wants to say hi, everybody. Then I finished One for My Enemy. Now this one I gave a 5-star. I was surprised by how much I liked it. It felt very Romeo and Juliet, which was the point. Plus it, deals with witches, and they feel like Romanov witches to begin with. And it was just a lot of fun. And there's like a feud, like the Hatfields and McCoys going on. I mean, there was a lot mixed in here, but it was very sweet. It had some very tender moments. It had some tender moments between the sisters as well as a love interest. And it was just all the things, guys. I highly recommend it. Then I finished At the Coffee Shop of Curiosities. Now this was for a book club. I gave it 2 stars. It has to do with this girl who has a uncanny ability, and it's pretty cool. There's a little bit of magic in here, and there's even a ghost, and yet it was boring. And it wasn't just me. When we had the book club discussion, everybody was saying the same thing, like, why? Why did this drag on like this? This was so boring. So just prepare yourself ahead of time on that one. Then I finished Those We Drown. I gave this a 4-star. It was a fabulous story. It was spooky, but for a full review, you'll have to watch the August Once Upon a Book Club video. I always shameless plug. Then I finished Written in Bone. This was also for a book club, and unfortunately was also a 2-star. It's nonfiction, and so we all know that's not my bread and butter, right? And I just found it boring. It's supposed to be kind of like a take on Brennan from Bones series, and it's a woman who looks at the bones to kind of help figure out what happened in a crime and things like that, like just like the television series. And outside of the occasional stories that she gave us, I just found it very dry and dull. So, but that was just me. You may love it. Then I finished Daughter of the Pirate King. This was for our book club, the ABC book club, and we gave it a 4 stars for the most part. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was really sweet. It was really cute. It's YA. I love the slow burn, enemies to lover kind of deal. I love the siren that's in this as well, and I am definitely going to be continuing the series. Then I finished Threads That Bind. And for this one, I gave it a 3-star, and I feel like that's generous. Only because once again, the characters in here just made me so mad. I wanted to slap several of them. And sometimes the situations they got into, especially when sisters were involved, I don't want to give away too much. It felt very much like the author just wanted an excuse to have a little something happening in this one so that you can make a series out of it and continuing in the next one. And so like even at the ending, it was one of those situations where, and again, I'm not going to give anything away, but like as an example, and this is not what happened, but if somebody were to sit there and listen to a bad guy give a very long monologue, and so the bad guy gets away because of that, when you literally were right there and able to stop them. But of course you want a book too. So you let the bad guy get away, and it's just like, no, I'm out. I'm out, because any other normal person would have made sure this didn't happen. So no, I'm out. So I was just very disappointed. Then I finished Light Lark. This I gave a 3-star, and I know there's a lot of drama behind it with TikTok and how it was presented with the author and stuff. And I didn't even know about that until I said I was reading this in one of Kim's sprints. And I Googled it, so you feel free to Google as well. Despite the drama, I wanted to read it just on its own. I didn't have nearly the problem with it that everybody else seemed to. I thought I read like a YA novel. I didn't think it was the best writing ever. I didn't think it was the worst writing ever. It's a 3-star for me, a solid read. I don't plan on continuing the series though, because I wasn't that invested, but I thought it was better than Threads That Bind, if I'm being honest. Then I finished The Lives of Saints. This I gave a 5-star, and I'm so excited because I do love Leigh Bardugo. And you know, the last one that I did that had short stories like this, I didn't give as high of a rating, and so I had to give it away. This one I get to keep on my shelf. It kind of like the title suggests. Every 1 or 2 pages, they do a saint. And this is in the Grishaverse, of course. And some of the stories were very heartwarming. Some of them were very sweet. Usually when you're sainted, it's because you're dead. So just keep that in mind. And then there were some that were extremely disturbing, but overall, really good. I really enjoyed it. Then I finished The House in the Cerulean Sea. Now, this I gave a 4-star. I'm so glad that I heard all of you guys talking about it. Now I know why. I mean, TJ Klune is just a really good writer to begin with. But oh my goodness, it was very whimsical and magical and sweet. And the moment that the guy who worked for the company, again, I'm trying not to give too much away, gets to the orphanage and he meets Lucy, and Lucy just immediately says, "Hi, I'm the Antichrist." Like, it just... What little child does that? It was just, oh my gosh. And then a little gnome troll person who keeps talking about burying you in the garden and stuff. Oh my gosh. These characters were fantastic. I loved it, and written in the way that only TJ Klune can. So I do highly recommend this book. Then I finished The Bone Witch. This I gave a 3-star. I know I'm kind of comparing apples and oranges here, but there was a similar feel as far as the magic and the camaraderie of witches that was in The Black Witch, even though The Black Witch had to deal with all the others, you know, werewolves and so on. And it was more academic setting than The Bone Witch, which was more one-on-one mentor and apprentice, and had to do also with her resurrecting her brother in the beginning and stuff. But despite that, I loved The Black Witch better, so I plan on continuing that series. Not so much with The Bone Witch. It just, outside of her relationship with her brother, I was bored. I really wasn't into it, so I don't think I'm going to be continuing that series. Then I finished The Queen of the Tierling. Now, this I gave a 2-star. I know there was so much about it that I didn't like. It was so boring and political, and at times a little disturbing, but not in a good way. Like, I really didn't like it, you guys. It was just not for me, which is sad because it seems like Emma Watson's going to be starring in the adaptation of it whenever it comes out. I think filming started in 2016, so I don't know when that's actually going to be completed, but it says in progress on IMDb, and I love Emma Watson, so I'm glad I read it so I can at least watch that, because I like to read the books first. But I'm not continuing that series by a long shot either. Then I finished Untamed. Now, this I gave a 3-star. It was okay. Untainted was so much better. Untainted was a 5-star. This was a huge letdown compared to that one. But it is the middle book. Like there's going to be a third. So I think this just may have fallen into the curse of the second book, at least for me. I do have it on my shelf right now just because if the third book, rallies and I love it as much as the first one, I'll want the whole series. So I'm glad I'm keeping it for now. I will give you just a real quick synopsis for what this entire book entails in case you want to skip it all together and just move on to the third. So if you have young ones, have them plug their ears right now or mute the TV for just a second. And then I'll hold up a finger so you know when it's safe to unmute. The wrap up is it had to do with politics and rough sex. Okay, you're safe. That's it. That's the whole book. Wasn't worth reading for me, but you never know. Like maybe I'll find out there was some little tidbit in there. I'll be glad I knew in the third. If that's the case, I'll review it ahead of time for you and let you know. Moving on, I then finished Wolf Song. Oh, you guys. I just talked about TJ Klum. 5 stars for me. Sam from Yarn Reader recommended this in my last sprint of the month where one of you guys get to say what I have to add to my TBR. Sam, I will love you forever because of this, because I am so in love with this book and this series, and I am already starting Raven Song because I couldn't wait until after Spooktober, and I thought maybe I'll need a little bit of breath of fresh air in between the spooky things anyway. Oh my gosh, it is so good. I love it. It's a coming of age story. It's a slow burn. It's a best friend to love. It's magic. It's witches. It's werewolves. It's other supernatural. It's, oh my gosh, all the things. And as you're reading this story, you can't help but cheer for Ox, who's the main character. And oh, you guys, it was just so incredible. I cannot say enough positive vibes. I will just say this much, and to kind of give you a better idea, so far, and I know I've got a couple months to go, but so far, this is my favorite book of the year, guys. And I'm talking, I had an Armentrout in there that I read. I had a Sarah J. Maas this year that I read. And so far, this is my favorite. It was that good. Highly recommend. Then I finished Lore Olympus Volume 4. This one I gave a 5-star. I love this series. I love Persephone and Hades and their relationship and the kind of will they, won't they, and friendship that's there. It's so sweet and endearing, and the art style is just incredible. Then I finished Combat Codes. This one I gave a 3-star. It's all about fighting. So it is fantasy and it's fighting, basically. But I love it because it does mention a lot of things that I used to do whenever I did Muay Thai and kickboxing. And it gave me a lot of memories, I guess, from back in those days. But it's a solid read. It was a solid story. I'm excited to continue it and let you guys know what I think as I continue on. Then I finished The Library of Shadows. This was also a book club pick. This time it was a 3-star, so hooray for no 2 stars on book club picks. It was okay. It was spooky, but it also had a little bit of romance, and it had some very sweet moments. It felt very fall, and anything that has to do with the library, right? Like, that's a good read. I'm sorry, Talia wanted to be a part of this as well. Cats all over me, guys. It's raining cats. Anyway. So this next part of reviews I'm going to do, actually, I wanted to separate because the following books were NetGalleys that they gave to me ahead of time to review. So I wanted to have a separate section in case later they ask for that for whatever reason. So I finished for NetGalley Best Frenemies. This one I gave a 3-star. It has some rough language in it, so prepare yourself. Think guy locker room talk, but it is a really cute kind of rom-com, and I really enjoyed it, and I had so many laugh out loud moments, and I do recommend it when it comes out. Then I finished Nina, the Starry Bride, Volume 1. This I gave a 3-star. It starts off with very dragging somebody out from the gutter, rags to riches kind of a deal. And it has some fun training happening in the palace, but there were a lot of really slow, kind of boring moments. So prepare yourself for that. Then I finished Romanticize Your Life. And oh my gosh, another one that was so cute. Oh my gosh, yes. This is the one I was telling you about, where basically, and I wrote about this in the little review that I did online and GoodReads as well. It's all about, if you know how I did the D&D sprints because I want to help us do adulting and make it fun. It's kind of like for that too. And it's beautiful because the author has made it where every single day you get a little notice at the top if it's going to be something that has to do with whimsy or self-care or dreaming or imagination. And she explains in the very beginning where she defines what all of those words actually mean. And then she gives you a little bit of encouragement, a quote, or a challenge that you get to do, like building a collage or a bubble bath or what have you. And it's for the entire year. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It gave me some of those Jane Austen-y vibes. And I'm all about using our imagination and making life more fun. So I, of course, gave it a glowing review. I was reached out to by the company, and they actually said they'd send me a physical copy, and I thought that was so sweet. So that's why I want to make sure to hold it up for you guys. It's beautiful. It's got the sleek pages. You can see it's smaller. I think it would be a lovely addition to your bookshelf for you to be able to look at whenever you want, even if you don't want to do it every day. Filter it in. So this is me promoting it because I think it's adorable. Then I finished Bookshops and Bone Dust. This I gave a 3-star, you guys. This is the prequel we've been looking forward to, the prequel to Legends and Lattes. You will see some familiar characters in here. It does have the same kind of vibe and feel to it. However, because it is a prequel, while it's really cool to see some backstory, unfortunately, it is incredibly slow. Not a whole lot of huge things happen, so prepare yourself for that. But you do get a little bit of a cameo towards the end, and that actually made me super happy. Then I finished Firefax. Now this I gave a 2-star. I was excited to see this from NetGalley because it was Pirate Month, right? Unfortunately, I am not a huge fan of historical fiction. That's why I don't review a lot of it on my channel. And this just was really too boring for me. It started out super cool. A girl named Kara, and we'll just say there was an event with a horse that ended up in bloodbath. And that's all I'm saying for that. And that was probably the most exciting part of the whole book for me. So it just wasn't for me, guys. Now, if you're somebody who loves a whole lot of facts sprinkled in with a little bit of plot and a little bit of character, you'll love this book. Then I finished The Hunting Moon. This I gave a 4-star. I'm so excited. This is book 2 following the Luminaries that our book club did. You guys, those of you who were in book club and enjoyed the Luminaries with us, you'll like this. It picks right up at the end of the first book. Some of the questions we had do get answered. Some theories we had were correct. Others were not. And there's a little bit of a reveal. It's not for me a blow me down huge reveal, but it was still kind of cool, and you see a little bit of relationship progression, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But it was super cute, and I can't wait for book 3 to come out now, and I'm frustrated because book 2 is not even released yet. But I recommend you guys get it and watch it, or read it. Then I finished The Celtic Deception. Celtic Deception? The Deception of the Celtics. I gave this a 3-star. It was a solid read. Apparently, this is actually book 2 in the A Jump in Time series. But what's so nice is this author did what few authors seem to do for me, and that is sprinkle enough information that you're not feeling like you're rereading the first book all over again in book 2. But you're also not completely lost. So I didn't notice the loss of book 1, honestly. I just didn't have any background on some of the characters. But there was enough there that I could see that there was some unrequited love going on. And I just really enjoyed what the author chose to do for, if you bounce back in time, what kind of ripple effect does that have on the future? And I really enjoyed some of that. And basically you have the main character wanting to protect the Celtics, or Celtics, wanting to protect them from the Romans. And so initially he has this great idea of how to build all these advanced weapons. Well, there's a kind of ripple that happens, and that causes bad things if you try to advance history before it's ready. So it was just kind of a cool way to handle that, I thought. And so I did enjoy it. There's also more background again, so kind of that whole historical fiction thing. And so that background's really cool to add. The author obviously did, his homework. I'm just not into that. So that's when the story would slow down and I'd get bored. But if you like historical fiction, I think you'd like this. And it's for YA as well. Then last but not least, I finished Pacific Tales. Now this I gave a 3-star. I was so sad. Once again, I was excited because a mermaid story during September when we have piratey and watery themes seems fantastic. Unfortunately, the beginning hooked me right away and was fantastic. You're seeing a queen who's having to make this huge sacrifice, and she gets to release this amazing spell to protect her kingdom. And it just really, pulled me in. And I'm like, yeah. And then immediately we go into the main part of the story, which has to do with a descendant of her and a professor. And it's silly and kind of quirky and awkward, but in the best way. And so you're reading it and it's going good. And then all of a sudden, when things start being revealed to her, it's like all of a sudden it feels very forced. It doesn't feel natural at all. It doesn't feel cool. It doesn't feel quirky. It's just, this is the story and we're going to push on through it. And then at the other end of it, going towards the end, you start just basically feeling like you're watching a Disney movie. Like you're just flat out watching The Little Mermaid. And I was just disappointed. I wanted more. It started out so amazing. I don't know what happened. For me, it just lost me halfway on. I just wanted it to be over. But you never know. So anyway, that's all the books that I read. Thank you, NetGalley, for the advanced copy so that I could share with all of you guys. I've got more coming for October, so stay tuned. Make sure that you check the video out tomorrow. It'll be nice and spooky. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fabulous fall. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, and send your friends, and I'll see you next time.